In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to assemble the ULTRA24 kit from Little Guy Racing Parts. Now, some things to keep in mind. The clips from this video were taken from my own personal build, which I did some custom paint work on. The kit that comes from Little Guy Racing Parts will come in a raw 3D printed grayish color. Now, the ULTRA24 kit is a very comprehensive kit that comes with a lot of components to build your rig, but you will need some donor parts from an SCX24, primarily the frame rails, the skid plate, rear linkage mount, complete axles, wheels and tires, motor, transmission, servo, drive shafts, and your own ESC and radio combo. Now, with that in mind, let's jump in and check out the install. First things first, here's the chassis. It's a 3D printed chassis here. Shocks, so we got the long travel double barrel shocks we're going to put on this thing. For the wheels, we've got the black Torque beadlock wheels. These are going to be awesome. We're going to wrap those in my favorite tire at the moment, which is the Swamp King tires. Absolutely adore these tires. Here's the body panels. So it all comes in this kit here. We got links in there too. Body panels. I see a servo mount. Let's open this up. Take a closer look here. I'm gonna lose anything. Let's see what we got. All right, so here's our body panels. Very cool. All right. I'm not gonna try to mock this up right now. I can kind of see it coming together here. Yeah, doors. Yeah, okay, I can see it. This is cool. Very nice components, I gotta say. I like the printing on these. I like it. That's cool. Got the logo etched in there. Links for the drivetrain here. We got, you guys know I love those Super 8s. So we got the Super 8 axles, the billet Super 8 axles front and back. That's what we're gonna do with this thing. For the axle setup, we got brass knuckles for the front. I got my hardware kits, bearings. We got the Extreme CVDs up front. I'm loving these on the comp build. So I think that this is the same axle setup that I've got on the comp build. So I'm really pumped to replicate that on this because it's worked fantastic on that build. Billet steering linkage for the Super 8s. More bearings to go in the axles. And then the rear axle shafts. So this is basically our kit here. So now what we're going to do, we're going to get into the base chassis assembly here. Now to do this kit, you do need frame rails and a skid plate from an SCX24. I have some deadbolt pieces here. So here's our frame rails. We're going to use this. So I need to strip this down to get to just the bare frame rails. And I need the skid plate as well. So I do remember one of the things he said was to do the shock towers in the rear first and then slide it into the chassis. Okay, so this is our ESC tray right here in our rear shock towers. Now I think I should be able to slide this in here and start mounting this up. Chassis should fit around the frame. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Just, man, it barely even need bolts. It fits in there perfectly. And the next I'm going to do our front shock towers here. Now these slides into the frame rails up here. There we go, those slide in there. So the arched piece, they fit right inside the frame rails. The arched piece runs down the bend in the frame. Now I'm going to pop this back in the chassis, looking good. And then now you can see these are our front shock towers. These are excellent. So I'm going to start putting this thing together. All right, we were pretty solid. It feels really good in there. fit excellent. Now what I'm going to do is slide the battery tray in on this thing. So now let me see, which direction does this go? I think that's it right there, and I should not have done those bolts. I wonder if I should have done this first. Let's try it. Look at that. We're making great progress here. This is actually going really fast. I'm really impressed with how well the 3D printed pieces fit to the frame rail and the tubular chassis. Everything lines up perfectly, and there is no slop in it whatsoever. It is tight and accurate. Very impressive so far. Nice and solid. So I think I'm going to do the skid plate now. And looking what else I need to bolt up here. I'm in pretty good shape. I'm putting another couple bolts here and there, but then that will pretty much be the chassis already. Very cool. There it is, my friends. Look at that. Beautiful. That was not as daunting as I thought it was going to be. It went together very simple. We're not going to do the body panels just yet. I'm going to do the linkage now, and then we'll start assembling the axles, and then we'll put a roller together, and I'll mock up the panels so you guys can see what it's going to look like. The linkage is now all in. Got these billet high clearance links. I need to check and verify that I've got the right drive shaft lengths. I think they said deadbolt rear and C10 rear. I would imagine that the deadbolt rear goes in the back and the C10 rear goes in the front. All right, my friends, we're making some really good progress here. So I got the axles all assembled. Got the wheels built. Let's look at the axles first. So these gorgeous billet Super 8 axles, these went together really smooth. This is my third set of these axles that I'm using on a build, and they just work so good. I just love how this billet looks, combined with the gold from the brass knuckles and the black billet steering arm, and this thing just works so good. One thing to note, the 3D printed Emax servo mount tray fit perfectly. Yeah, it's just an ideal fit for the Emax, which I guess it should because it's a Emax servo tray, but just very impressed again with the 3D printed parts from this kit. Everything works so perfectly. Just very, very nice fit and finish on these things. So I think the next step, I am going to grab my shocks and we're going to assemble everything, and we'll get a roller together, and then I'll mock up the panels, and that'll probably close it out for this episode. So let's get to assembling this thing. Here it is, pretty much fully assembled here. We've got a good rolling chassis here, just like I wanted to do with this video. So it went together really, really well. I'm just so impressed with how the 3D printed components, I know I've said that 3 or 4 times in this video, but everything went together so smoothly, and it was much easier than I was expecting. That was the ULTRA24 chassis kit. Now in this video we assembled a full rolling chassis. The next steps would be installing the motor and electronics of your choosing. Now this is set up to accept a brushed motor setup in either 50 size or 30 size very easily. That's a simple bolt-in. Now if you wanted to do a brushless combination, you certainly could, and there are ways to do it with little to no chassis modifications, but depending on the motor combo that you do, you may need to modify bits and pieces of the chassis. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you do want to take this to a brushless setup, there may be some extra customization above and beyond what the chassis is set up for. I hope this helped you on your ULTRA24 build. I hope you can come back to this as a resource. It's a fun kit, and I hope you enjoy your build.